welcome you guys to our monthly meeting. We're going to have the prayer and pledge led by Ms. Veresia Aiken from St. Paul AME Church with the Young Adult Ministry. If you would come to the mic for us, please.
Good evening. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us another day. Lord God, we thank you for your traveling mercies that allowed us to arrive safely tonight. We thank you for these great minds and leaders of the Newton County educational system. Lord God, we pray that your guidance be upon our decisions made tonight. Lord God, we thank you for blessing us with yet another day and another chance to make things right again today. Lord God, we ask that you infuse our educators with wisdom and knowledge in order for them to effectively educate our children. We pray that the standard of excellence be in all Newton County school systems, schools, families, and children represented here. These and all other blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
We stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Aiken. Tonight we have special recognitions.
Yes, Madam Chair. At this time, tonight we are going to recognize students who participated in the Literacy Days competition. We have several students who are deserving of recognition for their fantastic performances at the Griffin RESA Literacy Days poetry recitation, ready writing, and drama competitions. These students had previously won first place in our local competition and represented the Newton County school system in Griffin. They competed against students from Fayette County, Henry County, Griffin-Spalding County, Butts County, Pike, Lamar, and Thomas and Upson County school systems. I'm very proud to say that we had many winners in various competitions. First, we'll recognize our students who brought home awards in the poetry recitation contest, where competitors were judged on a number of criteria, including stage presence, articulation, interpretation of the poem itself, memory, accuracy, and the difficulty of the piece. When I call your name, if you'll please come to the front and accept your certificate from our board chair, Ms. Shaquila Henderson Baker. We'll begin with Morgan Hathorn. Morgan won first place honors in the 5th grade competition with her recitation of the poem Out of the Shadows. Morgan is a student at the Newton County Theme School at Fickwitt. Congratulations, Morgan. Lily. Is Lily here? She's not here. Okay. Cuniff. Is that how you say it?
Cuniff, yes.
Cuniff. Okay. Lily Cuniff. Lily brought home 3rd place honors in the 4th grade competition with her recitation of the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas. Lily is also a student at the Newton County Theme School at Fickwitt. Congratulations to Lily in her absence. And Marissa Gray. Marissa took home 2nd place honors in the 7th grade competition with her recitation of the poem Earth Poem. She is a student at Clements Middle School. Congratulations, Marissa. Congratulations to the 3 young ladies. Newton County School Systems also fared extremely well in the Ready Writing competition. During the Ready Writing competition, students are given a writing prompt and just 1 hour to complete an essay. When I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate. Ray Holt. Ray took home the 3rd place award in the 5th grade Ready Writing competition. He is a student at East Newton Elementary School. Congratulations, Ray. Gabby Turcott. Gabby earned 2nd place in the 7th grade Ready Writing competition. Gabby attends Cousins Middle School, so congratulations to Gabby. Anthony Fides.
He's at the STEM.
He's at another meeting this evening. Anthony won first place in the 8th grade Ready Writing competition. He attends Clemens Middle School. Congratulations to Anthony. Finally, the drama team from the Newton County Theme School at Fickwit won third place in the drama competition with their performance of Sneetches. Team members, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate. Isabel Rogers, Jalen Simons, Chris Prince, Emily Rose Hamby, Ivana Bug, Sherry Oladapo, Danielle Lockhart, Sia Odom, or Sia Odom? Sia. Savannah Miller. So we're at Danielle Lockhart. Savannah Miller. Ralph Brown. Okay. And for those of you who think you might recognize Ralph's name, that might be because he won the Newton County School System Spelling Bee. He will represent the Newton County Schools in the district spelling bee, in the regional spelling bee, and we wish him well. So let's congratulate all of our Literacy Day winners. They truly represented the Newton County School System well. This concludes the recognition portion of tonight's meeting, and parents and students, typically this is the time that folks who are not wanting to stay for the rest of the board meeting, this is the time that they exit. However, we welcome you to stay.
Time to
And
escape.
you are absolutely welcome to be here.
It's a lot.
Okay, we'll move on to public participation. If Ralph comes through, you want to do that special recognition for me? If Ralph, she said Ralph was going to be late.
If Ralph joins us, we'll stop and do a recognition for Ralph as well.
Okay, moving on to public participation. We have one public participant for tonight.
Ms. Renee Fisher, you'll come right there. I'm going to read our policy. Public participation in the time is the time that the board has set aside to encourage you as members of our community to voice your opinion on any matter, either included or excluded from the printed agenda. A maximum time of 5 minutes will be allotted to a single individual or a single topic based on the number of requests. Complaints against any employee of the school system will not be heard unless the complaint has been submitted in writing to the superintendent at least 7 days prior to the board meeting. If unresolved, any personal complaints about school personnel must be put in writing for the board to review in executive session. Personal attacks against any member of the board will not be tolerated. Once the time for the public participation has passed, discussion of topics will be restricted to the board members only. Thank you in advance for complying with this request.
Thank you. My name is Renee Fisher. Good evening, board. Ms. Fury, Madam Chairperson, and board members. My question has to do with the board policy. I'm a teacher here in Newton County and have been for the past 16 years regarding leaves and absences. There is a portion here that states that any sick leave can be taken for immediate family. I would like to ask a question with the term immediate family. In December, my aunt and uncle, both of whom raised me, were taken ill, and I had to be out of school for a week. And my check was then reflected as taken pay. So it did not reflect that immediate family would include aunt or uncle. And my question tonight is, what steps, if any, need to be taken that this term immediate family may be either revisited or looked at or changed, that it would reflect the needs of the people?
in that I'm saying, immediate family, it's restricted to mother, father, and depending on who raised you, that could be considered your mother or father. And I personally have 56 sick days available and put in a request for family leave that was denied.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank
Good.
you.
What we will do is we will take your position under advisement, and when we meet, I actually meet with our executive support team every Monday morning, and we will certainly discuss your concerns and look at standard protocol and procedures and policy. We just went through a revision process, I want to say, almost all through the last year, and so we'll look at to see if there's anything that we can do to be of support. Without going outside of standard protocol and procedures and policies, and if we have to revisit it and rewrite it, we do. And so we'll be in touch with Ms. Sanders, our HR director, and she'll help us pull together anything that we need to by way of resources.
Okay.
Can I ask, the descriptor code is GARH, and it says at the end of that, or in-law equivalent to above, meaning those that you named, and any relative living in the residence of the employee. I'm not trying to get personal. Does any of that apply, maybe?
No,
It doesn't? Okay.
they don't live
But
with
it says
me.
equivalent to above. I
But
don't know what
equivalent to.
I don't know what
I
equivalent to
think
might
equivalent to mother or father if they raised you.
Right.
But that's my thinking.
We'll be in touch, Ms.
Thank you. I
you, Ms.
appreciate you
Fisher.
listening.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it's approved. Approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been motioned by Mr. Turner, second by Ms. Coggan. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Superintendent's report. Financial report, Ms. Bullard.
Our SPOS distribution for January was $977,310, and that was an increase from our last collection of $130,739. That was the Christmas collection, so we're averaging $873,595 per month for the SPOS. At the time I did this report, I did not have the new vehicle tax, but I have received them since, and it is $94,980. And so we're still averaging $100,000 approximately a month on that tax. The budget on your financial statements, I have amended it. Last month we distributed the 1% one-time pay adjustment to employees, so the expenditures reflect all throughout the different functions the cost of that pay adjustment. Then I've also adjusted the revenues as we discussed in our November meeting by changing tax collection, since we've had that history the last couple years where we've collected more taxes. So we reduced that estimated uncollectible to 1% rather than 2.5%. I've added $800,000 for the TAVT taxes. Last year when we did the budget, we didn't add anything for those taxes because we didn't have enough history. So I've added that, and I've adjusted the estimate, the state revenues. We should be getting our midterm adjustment March or April. I believe it's going to be more than that, but I've gone ahead and adjusted it by $750,000 as we discussed in November. So that gives us a new ending fund balance, projected ending fund balance of a little over $16 million versus $14,769,000. So now we have what we feel like is a better figure to begin our budgeting process for next year. And when I do get the final state number, I'll come to the meeting with an adjusted figure again. And all of the grants on page 5 have been changed to their new final amounts after we got our carryover amounts, et cetera. So is there any questions on any of that or comments?
Well, a question, will we get the new regular sheet that shows the adjustments? It's a summary sheet that we usually get, comparison. You know what I'm talking about?
I'll do that how about if I do that when I get the final state numbers and show, I listed them on here, but you want to see something
Right.
with columns. Okay, I can do that, yes.
Please.
And I'll do that when I get the state funds in, is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Bullard. Next, we'll have the operations report. Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, ma'am. Operations report, I'll share a few highlights with you. In maintenance and operations, maintenance received 761 work requests in January of this year, with 577 of them having been completed. There are 184 remaining work orders in progress. Student transportation, average per gallon cost for diesel fuel purchased during January was $3.31. Fuel was last purchased in December for $3.33. In January 2013, 1 year ago, the average cost of fuel was $3.51. At Ombudsman, there are total enrollment as of January 9th was 72 high school students, 22 middle school students. There were 58 students, 38 high school and 20 middle school who returned to their base school, and there are no bus incidents to report as of this reporting period. School nutrition, one item of note I'd like to share. My payments plus revenues year to date through January 2014 were $437,355. This is a 12% increase over the same period in school year 2013, which shows that more of our families are choosing to use this particular form of payment. Are there any other questions in regards to the operations report?
Yeah, where are we in terms of ombudsman negotiations, in terms of revisiting or whatever? We on target, or we have a date to be briefed on it?
Yes, sir. We actually are planning a meeting. We were to meet during the last week. However, the weather stopped that from occurring, but we are getting ready to meet with them within the next week or two and begin our negotiation process.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask for a motion for item A under superintendent's report.
What, are you skipping it?
No,
She's going to go ahead and approve the operations report, so
yeah,
she needs a
item
motion to
A.
approve.
I thought you said 8.
oh, no, item A. A as in apple.
I'll make a motion to approve the operations report.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to item B under superintendent's report. Dr. Lockhart, you have both of these?
Yes, curriculum report and enrollment report. Again, you have the curriculum instruction technology report. I'd just like to share just a few of the highlights. We've been busy and busy in a good way, but just want to share just a few things with you. Item number 2, Newton High School was recognized by the Student Support Team Association for Georgia Educators, also known as STAGE, for demonstrating the best and most promising practices for the research-based practices of response to intervention, pyramid of interventions, and student support teams in the high school category for the state of Georgia for the 2012-13 year. Item number 5, just want to give you an update with ViewPath. Usage of this system has gone up 10% per month since it was installed in July. Currently, there are 9,861 videos stored on our servers that have been created by teachers. These videos are being shared by our teachers during their professional learning time. If I could draw your attention over on page 3, it says item number 24. Saturday, January 25th, the 6th annual Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl competition took place, and there were 22 schools competing this year and 209 students who participated in this event. It was very well attended, very high spirited, and it was a very, very strong showing by our students. So we're very proud of all of the, as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and say, with the divisions, elementary first place winners, Flint Hill, second place Mansfield, middle school division, first place Newton County Theme School, second place Cousins Middle School, and high school Newton placed first and Alcovey placed second. On page 4, a few items to bring to your attention. Item number 28, a very special congratulations to Mr. James Woodard for receiving the Deal of the Year Award from the Newton Chamber of Commerce. Item number 29, the Al Kobe Marketing Education Program underwent a preliminary industry certification visit on January the 16th. The site evaluation team included 3 team members representing the American Marketing Association. The committee awarded Alcovey High School's marketing program industry certification based upon the program's ability to meet the standards related to curriculum, instruction, facilities, equipment, professional development, and its student organization, DECA, which is a marketing club. Alcovey's marketing education program will have its final site visit in May. Congratulations to Alcovey High School and Mr. Randy Jenkins, the marketing teacher. And that concludes the curriculum report as far as items I want to highlight. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
Madam Chair, we have a presentation, but would you mind if I go ahead and give the enrollment report first?
Certainly. Go ahead.
Okay. Enrollment report. As of February 2014, we have 19,419 students. That's an increase of 335 students from this time the past year. And at this time, Madam Chair, I would like to present Ms. Shannon Buff, our Director of Secondary Education, to come forward to share with you information in regards to college readiness.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to come and share a little bit about an initiative we've been working on this year to address the SAT and ACT scores and to address college and career readiness at all levels. What we have done is we have decided to take a K-12 approach to increasing awareness of the SAT and ACT along with college and career readiness. As you know, the SAT and the ACT is taken during a student's high school career, but the material that they learn starts when they start in kindergarten, learning to read, the study skills that they need. And so what we did was we involved all stakeholders in addressing and developing a plan. And the plan started out with Ms. Fury's Student Advisory Council with students. And we actually asked the students, these are middle school and high school students, what do you think you need to have in order to get ready for the SAT and ACT? And it was really kind of an enlightening experience to listen to what the students had to say and get their feedback. Then we took it to the teachers through the teacher forum, and the teachers had some very insightful information from the kindergarten teachers all the way up to the senior teachers that we had. And so then we took a meeting with counselors, administrators, district office staff, and we started a task force, a team that met to come up with different strategies and different tools that we could do to increase college and career readiness and awareness along with our SAT and ACT scores. And so this group got together for the first time in November. We met, we came up with a lot of strategies. They took the strategies back to their schools. And then we came back again in January and developed what would become our plan. Now, these are some strategies that came out of the meeting. I just want to share a little bit about the strategies that we're going to be using with this plan, and then some of the great ideas that our educators came up with regards to SAT and ACT readiness. The first thing is vocabulary awareness. Making sure that students are prepared, have the right vocabulary acquisition that they need to go on to college or career, whatever they choose, is very important. One great idea that came out of our meetings was to take the common SAT and ACT words that we already have access to, combine those with Latin and Greek root words, and distribute that to the community. So the nursery schools and the churches and places that have our students before they get to us, to be able to get them involved in vocabulary acquisition at an early age. And that's something that we're looking into doing and creating. Creating a college and career going atmosphere, this is something that actually took off immediately. If you go into our schools now, you'll see outside of many of the teachers' doors or in one central location, their college information, where they went to college, a picture of them. I went into Veterans Middle School the other day. They have a whole wall where they have them dressed out in their college gear and talks about all their college experiences. And it's a very good way to just kind of have that awareness of what's going on with the teachers, what kind of jobs they wanted to have, what they ended up doing, the degrees they pursued. And so that's something that's really taken off. We have college days now. The board office has actually participated. We've worn our college shirts to show our support for our team. It gets a little contentious at some point, go Dogs, I have to say that. So expanding learning opportunities, that was something else that came out of this, and we're not talking about just within the school day. We already have opportunities outside the school day. We have CRCT prep that happens after school and on Saturdays. Well, we're looking at trying to expand those opportunities for SAT and ACT prep as well. One other thing that we've talked about, as many of you know, next year with the new mathematics curriculum in the state of Georgia, coordinate algebra will be offered to some 8th graders. And we are looking as a district at expanding our 8th grade offerings to other courses. So beyond coordinate algebra, what other courses could our students have the opportunity to take in middle school that would then expand their opportunity to take dual enrollment or AP courses when they're in high school? So that's something that could also help prepare those students for college and career readiness. Writing across the curriculum, having timed writing samples, because the SAT has timed writing assessments. Analyzing data. We get PSAT data every year, and the high schools always take the PSAT data back to their schools. They sit down with a team and they analyze it. Well, this year we've already taken steps to make sure that the elementary schools and the middle schools also have that data to look at, because they take the PSAT in 10th grade. So it's important that those middle schools and elementary schools also get the data to look at, to analyze it and be able to use it to modify instruction. Research and marketing, we're looking at expanding the college and career brochures that we have into the elementary schools. And then utilizing research-based instructional strategies. You might be aware that last summer, the elementary schools did a research-based instructional strategies academy for elementary teachers. And this was a voluntary program where teachers could come in, they were paid a stipend, and they were able to go and attend professional learning on research-based instructional strategies. Well, this year it's going to be a K-12 approach. We're going to look at doing it vertically so that all of our teachers have an opportunity to come in. They'll receive a stipend and they'll learn about research-based instructional strategies. So we have developed a good plan. It's going to go before some community members. We've asked them to come in and vet it as well. We've had some people come in from outside agencies looking at it to see what we could do to modify it. But the next step is, how do we ensure that what we are doing actually translates back into something that's being done at the school level? So we have come up with a monitoring piece. We're going to have a representative from each school to come in at a bi-monthly basis to monitor implementation. One thing that we do at the district office is we use action plans a lot. This is an example of something that's actually on the SAT plan. We use action plans to hold ourselves accountable for the things that we do. And so at these bi-monthly meetings, you'll notice there's district level actions and school level actions. The schools will actually fill in their own school level actions to take the plan back. And then the district level actions is where we hold ourselves at the district level accountable. And we'll monitor. We'll use green for operational, we'll use yellow for emergent, and then red for not addressed. And we don't expect that everyone's going to get everything in green the first year that we do this. But it is a way to make sure that we're not just putting a plan out there and not following through with it. So we want to make sure that we have something that we can really go back and hold each other accountable. But I want to say that I'm very, very proud of the teachers and administrators and counselors and students that put a lot of work into this plan, because it's a really, really good plan and we're really proud of it. Any questions? I try to get it done quick.
How prolific is use of Georgia 411 in the system now through the Bridge Act?
Well, it's absolutely being used a whole lot more than it used to be, but I know in the middle schools especially, but in the high schools as well, they all, by the time they get to the high school, they all have their Georgia 411 accounts, so.
Okay.
I have a question.
Certainly.
How will we monitor the success of this? Because you're going to have different groups of students that will be taking these tests. And as a result of that, your results may be a little bit different. So I guess my question is, how will we monitor this to make sure that it's what we need to be doing and make any changes?
Well, one thing that's always been important to me with any kind of strategic plan is that it be fluid. that we be open to changing it whenever we need to change it. So that's the first thing, is that we know that we'll have to make adjustments. I mean, we do that all the time. I would use EST as an example. We make changes to plans that need to be adjusted. The SAT and ACT is always that way. We always have a different group of students that takes it from year to year, but I think comparing ourselves to the national and state averages is how we would do it. But one thing that I think is important to point out about the SAT and the ACT, it's truly a K-12 event. So it's going to take a little while for the plan to take hold. By the time that the kids are in kindergarten roll up to take the test, I think that's when you would really see a huge impact. But I think that we'll start seeing an impact pretty quick. I mean, I really do. I know I have a son that's at the theme school, and he already says, "Mom, did you know that our teachers are wearing their college shirts? I saw this person with this shirt. And this teacher, she had an Auburn shirt on." I had to throw that in there. She had an Auburn shirt on. So I think that that's starting to take place. But one thing that Ms. Fury has said repeatedly is that you can't necessarily make a kindergartner understand the ramifications of taking the SAT and the ACT. But what you can do is start saying those words around them at an early age to get that in their head, to make them aware of things that have to happen later on. And I think just having a conversation is important.
And if I may, we've been talking about one of the challenges that we've talked about in the past, and actually talked about at the Education Summit and many of the forums that we've had. One of the challenges that the district faces is mobility rate and the movement of students in and out of the district, and the time that kids are learning to read, and then again during the time that they take the SAT or ACT. So we are looking at the plan to try to figure out what can we do for those kids to ensure that as they move about, that they're not missing something. And we've talked about creating to-go packets for kids, things of information and study pieces that they can do on their own as they move, even if they move to a different school system. Because with the SAT and ACT, we constantly are challenged with who's being tested and how long they've been in the school system, because all the kids that are taking the SAT and ACT have not been with us, but some of them just for a semester before they take the exam. So the whole purpose of this college and career readiness plan with a focus on ACT and SAT is to ensure that we are infusing rigor as early as we can, all the way down into the kindergarten classrooms, and holding high expectations of all of our students, so that the dream of whatever they want to do beyond high school is possible because of the education that we're providing them while they're with us. So it's a pretty big task that we're attempting to undertake, but I think that with the support of our community and with the support of the board and all of the schools, we will see some changes in the results that we're getting, but we'll still be plagued with the challenge of mobility and people moving in and out, and trying to compensate for the skills that they don't have when they get here, or where we missed the mark earlier on. So those are definitely challenges that we have to look at and address it all the time.
I have a question, Ms. Buff.
Certainly.
I was excited to hear about this at the community leaders forum that you did, the breakfast that you did that morning. Really excited about this. But I have a question. Do you guys, and I know you said kindergarten, you'll be able to see true measurement.
Right.
Do you have like a target grade right now, like within the next few years, or a controlled environment that you guys are going to try to monitor and watch to make sure this plan is working?
I think the best measure for us to look at, and we've had this conversation before, is to look at our juniors.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that take it in the last session at the end of their junior year. They're the ones that we have seen that have had all the curriculum that they need in order to be able to be successful, especially with the mathematics portion. So if we were going to look at a target group, a control group, it would be the juniors that take the tests in June. That group would be the one that I would propose that we look at.
Okay. So we'll revisit it in June to see measurement.
Well, this is actually not an implementation year. This
Right,
was
the
the
next-
development year. Yeah, it would be
The next year, June.
But I would also, I'll come back and update you just to let you know where we are, because when we have the plan and it's not in its draft form, you'll be able to see where we are in terms of what have we fully implemented, what at the district level have we done to make sure that this program is successful, because it's very important to us that we hold ourselves accountable
Right.
and not just put it on paper and not follow through, because it's important.
Okay.
If they seek early college admission, June is probably too late for a lot of them,
Right.
as you know. But that's a system decision. I mean, they don't have time to bring the score up from where the minimum needs to be for the senior year. I mean, if they take the April test, because you don't have another test until October for SAT and
Right.
September for ACT.
Right.
But just, just an idea.
Okay, well, we can look at the April
Yeah.
test as well. We just usually try to get them to finish their junior year of math, but early
That's
is
a good
different.
point, too.
Right.
Yeah.
But usually the kids that are seeking early admissions have
Yeah.
actually, in that accelerated math track, they're
Prob-
prepared to go.
Yeah.
They can
And
take it
probably
earlier.
doing it as sophomores.
Right, their
Yeah.
sophomore year,
Yeah.
they can take it because
Gotcha.
they're in the accelerated math
Yeah.
track.
I have one more question.
Certainly.
May not be able to answer this.
Okay.
Because this is kind of directed toward the state.
Okay.
And that is there any test that the state provide for school systems to test students at different grade levels to say that a child should be able to accomplish a certain score at this grade level in order for he or she to be able to do well on the SAT? That way you can kind of measure where that child is developing through K through 12?
That's one of the problems that we're plagued with, is that our CRCT and our EOCTs are not aligned to these national assessments like the SAT or ACT. So because you perform well on a CRCT or an EOCT for that matter, does not mean that you will perform well on the SAT.
Right. They're not even normed the
they've-
same.
Pardon me?
They're not even normed the same.
No, they're not. And so, what has happened is everybody, because that's the way we're measured, is on those state assessments, we've all been working on those areas and not focusing as much on the SAT and ACT. And so we recognize that there's a need, even though the state is not providing it for us, that we do something more than what we've done before, because the state does not have anything that correlates to those scores.
And my point in asking that question is because I think it's important that the public know
Right.
that how our hands are tied and how we're constantly trying to implement things to help our students, but that everything that the state wants, our curriculum is not in line when it comes to the SAT and ACT.
That's part of the beauty of this plan, though, is that I
local.
would say that the things that we're doing in this plan also support our efforts with the CRCT and the EOCT as well. Because, infusing research-based instructional strategies, that's part of our strategic plan to increase EOCT and CRCT as well. So it's not really anything we're not already asking, just asking to make sure that we have more rigor infused. And just to piggyback off of what you just mentioned a minute ago about early admissions, making sure that these kids have access to more 8th grade courses is going to really change the way we look at when we would look at
Right.
the SAT and ACT. If a student is able to take 3, 4, 5 courses in 8th grade and start out at a 10th grade level, then we would want to measure them at the end of their 10th grade year. And it would open a lot of doors to them to be able to take more courses in dual enrollment or more courses with AP. So I think that that's a very, very good and valid and important point, and important thing to look at.
May I say one other thing about what you asked? The state does pay for the 10th grade PSAT, and so we do administer the PSAT in the 10th grade. The problem is that there's nothing earlier that is norm referenced, and so we do the ITBS or the COGAT, but those are things that we choose to do and pose upon ourselves. But definitely, there is a definite gap between what the state assessments look like. Now, the state is trying to rectify that, and they're doing so by increasing the number of items that you must get correct on the assessment, thereby what some would call the cut score. And they're attempting to raise the level of rigor by addressing cut scores and items correct. I don't know that it definitely will translate to an improvement in ACT and SAT scores, but having a concerted district-wide, county-wide, community-wide effort that says, hey, we're about creating a college-going atmosphere, and not just college, but career as well, making sure that kids who choose not to go to college recognize that they'll most likely have to do something after high school in order to be in the market. However, we need to make sure that they're prepared to tackle whatever they choose. If they want to go to Harvard, they ought to be prepared to go. If they want to go to Georgia State, they ought to be prepared to go. GPC, Yale, wherever. Or just go to a trade school to, if they want to, work on welding, for example. A parent said to me, Ms. Fury, we've got, there are great paying jobs out there that involve welding, but you got to be able to tackle the material and understand the books Otherwise, you won't be able to do the job. And so we've got to put a concerted effort in place, and I think we'll get there over time.
And you've got to act independent, really, of the state
Yeah.
and do it locally, like you are with the STEM diploma, which adds more science.
Right.
Because if you rely on the state, the most recent EOCT study guides are 10 years old. You just can't rely on the state. Yeah.
And I think this is a perfect example. You know, I always talk about we need to sing our own story. And that is the fact that we're doing things and taking upon ourselves to do things and put things in place to make our students better. And, you know, I commend your staff and our teachers and the parents who are buying into this and making sure we do the necessary things to make our students successful.
And I think too, Dr. Lockhart and Mr. Peck and Ms. Fury, we were all here for the second round of meetings. It was very, like the excitement around doing something vertical like this, K-12, all getting together, it was palpable. You could feel how excited the teachers and the administrators in the room got about doing something like this. And the ideas that they came up with were just phenomenal. Great, great ideas that we had that came out of the meetings.
Just a comment. I'm excited about the emphasis that you're placing on ACT and SAT. But at the same time, I got some concern that a couple of years ago, we had a program, Full Court Press, Building Background Knowledge. So it appears to me we're reinventing the wheel a little bit on building background knowledge in this program. We're not, so it seems like there's a little replacement of building background knowledge like we had here.
I would say that it would just be an enhancement, because you still, with vocabulary acquisitions, it's still about building a student's background knowledge. The packets that Ms. Fury spoke about earlier, providing them with things to help build their background knowledge no matter what school they go to in the district. If they leave us and come back, still having those things. So I would say that it's just kind of an enhancement, I guess, of building background knowledge.
Because that's still part of the strategic plan.
Right, it's still part of the strategic plan, and this is all part of the strategic plan as well.
It's just like it's like looking at the strategic plan and taking out the section on college and career readiness and then expanding it and putting more detail into it. So it doesn't take us off of our strategic plan at all. What it does is it sort of says, okay, that you said you were going to do this as far as college and career readiness is concerned. How? Tell us what you're going to do specifically, and that's where the plan comes in. But the building background knowledge is one of the strategies that we'll continue to use. Research-based instructional strategies, building background knowledge, and technology integration. Probably the educators in the room can sing that and write it, and they have it blazoned on their shoulders in a tattoo form. We've been working on it. So, yes.
Anything else?
It took
Thank
longer
you,
than you
Ms.
did, didn't it?
Can I have a motion to approve item B under superintendent's report?
So moved.
Okay, second. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Pardon me, Madam Chair. Ralph Brown has arrived.
I already pulled out his certificate. I saw him when he walked in. Okay. We're going to go back to special recognition for Mr. Brown.
So, hi Ralph, how are you? What we're going to do is we're going to have you come forward and we're going to recognize you as part of the drama team that the Newton County Theme School at Fickwit won 3rd place at the drama competition. And this is Ralph Brown, who is also our spelling bee winner that we spoke. Congratulations, Ralph. We appreciate you being here. Are there any other students who were part of the Literacy Days competition who have come in after the original recognition? Anybody else? Okay. Just want to make sure.
Okay, going back to the printed agenda, we have no old business. New business, item A, B, and C are all Mr. Barr, so we'll take all those items together.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Item A, the superintendent recommends that the annual renewable contract for diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline awarded to Petroleum Traders Corporation of Fort Wayne, Indiana, be renewed for an additional contract period. The effective date will be February 28, 2014. The The expiration date will be February 27, 2015. As background, this contract was originally awarded on February 28, 2012. The contractor has performed satisfactorily and has agreed to maintain the same pricing for the upcoming term. The contractor electronically monitors the school system's fuel tanks and uses the data gathered to analyze the market and buy the fuel at the lowest price possible while simultaneously maintaining a constant supply of fuel. The procurement department recently evaluated a number of contracts for diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline, and as a result determined that the current contract offered the most competitive pricing. The estimated contract value is $825,000. And that concludes item A.
Okay. Any questions for item A? Okay, you can go ahead and proceed.
Item B, the superintendent recommends the approval of both a permanent land use easement and a temporary construction easement to the city of Oxford for the construction of new water line infrastructure. As background, the city of Oxford is in the process of replacing a mainline water line along the existing right-of-way of Emory Street, which is State Route 81. The new water line route crosses the Newton County Board of Education's property at the former Palmerstone Elementary School. The Oxford has requested that a permanent easement and temporary construction easement be approved for the construction and maintenance of this water line to eliminate the need to remove some trees that are located on the front of the property. No school structures or disruption of school functions are anticipated. That concludes item B.
Okay, do we have any questions on item B? Go ahead.
Item C, the superintendent recommends the approval of, stand by. Item C, the superintendent recommends the attached items be declared surplus and disposed of per board policy DO. The items for consideration this evening are from the BOE administrative offices and the service center. That concludes item C.
Okay, have any questions for item C? Can I have a motion for A, B, and C together?
So moved.
Okay, it's been motioned by Mr. Metters,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Coggins. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barr. Ms. Lumens, you have item D.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Item D, the superintendent recommends the purchase of pendant transmitter-type panic devices for all school system buildings from Banner Security Systems Incorporated of Conyers, Georgia. And as background for this item, in an effort to provide safer learning environments for the school system students and personnel, it is recommended that 2 pendant transmitter-type panic devices be placed in each of the school system's buildings. The device will integrate directly with the school system's fire and intrusion alarm system that is monitored by Banner Security Systems. And when a device is activated, Banner Security Systems will immediately notify the Covington-Newton County 911 Center for immediate response from law enforcement. The estimated total cost is $57,150. And I have an example of one of the devices here if you'd like to see it. It would be provided to personnel if an intruder is in the building and they need immediate response. They just press and hold the button.
The
center
green.
button, the green button, yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lumens. Any questions?
I have one. How will this be any different than what we're using with the teachers, or with the, I've lost the name of it.
VPAT.
Our SAFE program. We have that capability now.
Well, ViewPath notifies the front office of a problem. This goes directly to the 911, or through Banner to the 911 center, so that this gets immediate response from public safety
Emergency,
personnel. Whereas with the teachers, the school personnel would respond first to the situation and then possibly activate a device.
This is similar to having a remote on your home
Yes.
security system
Right.
where you can just press it.
I think I'm missing something. If you give this to an individual, that individual can push the alarm and get 911.
Right.
How is 911 notified now on our present system?
Through a telephone call from the front office personnel. And if
Our face system don't have an alert to call 911.
direct, no, this is what we're trying to do, is provide this kind of system.
Okay. Okay, I'll give up my questions. I'll have to research my information.
Am I not understanding? No.
Just forget about the
Okay.
question. I'll come back later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion for item D?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any opposed or no?
I'm not gonna vote on that.
You didn't vote?
No.
Okay.
Abstain.
Okay. All right, item E, F, and G, Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, ma'am. Item E, contractual agreement with Flexible Creativity Incorporated with Dr. Mulligan. The superintendent recommends the approval of the attached contract with Flexible Creativity Incorporated for 33 days of monitoring classroom instruction and providing professional learning for the system as a whole and for individual schools during the 2014-15 school year. Dr. Dan Mulligan will continue to be the consultant. Background: the district and individual schools have utilized Dr. Mulligan during the 2013-14 school year to monitor the district's non-negotiable goals of increased student achievement and more effective teaching. Dr. Mulligan and the principal observe classroom instruction to ensure the use of research-based instructional strategies, building the background knowledge of students, and the integration of technology in classrooms. After classroom observations were conducted, Dr. Mulligan and the principal designed a professional learning plan that would address the continuous improvement of the quality of instruction in the classrooms. The fees for the monitoring and professional learning training amount is $3,500 per day, plus travel expenses, all of which are paid from federal funds provided for professional learning, Title I and Title IIA. The total amount of the contract is $115,500 plus travel expenses for the trips to Newton County. Dr. Mulligan will provide to the district 33 contractual days of observations and professional learning. Are there any questions?
I have none.
Okay, you can move on.
Item F, 2014-15 school calendar. The superintendent recommends the approval of the attached 180-day student calendar, 186-day teacher calendar. Background: a representative from each school, along with school and district level administrators, was solicited to develop the 2014-15 school year calendar. The committee met and was polled in an effort to produce the attached calendar option, which reflects a continuation of 4 furlough days for affected employees. This would keep the number of teacher days at 186 days, as with the 2013-14 school year calendar. Should additional employee work days be approved to accommodate the FY15 budget, furlough days can be converted to work days that will be added to the pre-planning schedule. February 12th, 13th, and 16th of 2015 are designated as makeup school days if inclement weather or other unforeseen events that lead to school closure occur. If inclement weather or other unforeseen events do not occur, those 3 days may serve as winter break days. Are there any questions?
Twelfth, 13th, and 16th, right?
Yes, February.
I have no questions. Anybody have any questions?
This has to be voted on tonight.
Yes, we need to
Yes.
take action on this tonight.
All right, well then, Madam Chair, may I make a motion?
I was gonna do all 3 together
Oh,
unless,
excuse me, sorry.
yeah, because
Sounds
Craig
good.
has the next
Okay.
item as well.
Item G.
Yes.
Item G, inclement weather makeup recommendation. The superintendent recommends student make up 3 of 7 instructional days lost due to inclement weather. The makeup days will take place May 27th, May 28th, and May 29th. Further, the superintendent recommends graduation ceremonies for eligible seniors take place May 23rd and May 24th. However, should State Superintendent Barge's proposed resolution not be approved by the State Board of Education, graduation ceremonies will be required to take place May 30th and May 31st. The State Board of Education will hear the State Superintendent's resolution at Thursday's State Board meeting, which will be February 20th. Employees will make up days according to their respective calendars. Background. Due to inclement weather, students have missed a total of 7 days of instruction. In the era of high-stakes assessments tied to performance evaluations, it is imperative that we strategically restore instructional days lost due to inclement weather. After reviewing potential makeup day options and listening to overwhelming feedback from our families and employees, it was determined neither midwinter nor spring breaks are viable makeup options. Midwinter and spring breaks are the only remaining makeup options listed on the current calendar as student and staff holidays. Therefore, multiple options were considered. Makeup days will be added to the end of the school year and take place Tuesday, May 27th through Thursday, May 29th. Adding the 3 days to the end of the year allows for an adjustment to be made to the testing calendar. This adjustment provides additional instructional time prior to the CRCTs and EOCTs.
Dr. Lockhart?
Yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, ma'am.
I know we are familiar with this and reading through it, but can you just break it down? And the only reason why I'm asking for you to break it down, because somebody is going to say something different. So can you just like break it down again why we're doing the 3 days at the end of the year, end of the school year for testing reasons?
Okay. First, we're mid-year winter break and spring break are not viable options. However, those were the only days that we could traditionally have made up the inclement weather. So they, for us, are off the table. So when we look at making up the 3 instructional student days, we will have to place them at the end of the year. That's the only time you could place those days. However, that gives us an added benefit that we did not have previously. We will be able to push the CRCT back 1 week, and they will have time to, the students will have time to study for 1 week after spring break. That'll also allow for us to add more time for the end of course tests, and we can take CRCT retests during the May 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Yeah.
So there's an added instructional benefit by making this suggestion.
Right. I understand that. I just want that
Yes, ma'am.
clarity out there in case somebody watches the video, in case somebody reads something, so they can understand why this option is a good option.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Instructionally, this is the most sound option that we could provide.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, and I hate to ask a whole bunch of questions that I may know the answer to, but I'm just going by dialogue, what I was hearing in the community. So we could not, doing a 30-minute, extended 30-minute day was not a viable option because?
Yes, ma'am. There were 2 similar options. There was a 30-minute option, which would be the equivalent of adding 42, it would be 42 days of 30 minutes added to each day. We really just don't have the days.
Right.
One option came up to say 1 hour, which would be 21 added days of instruction. Again, what we have to look at is, number one, that really wasn't instructionally sound.
Right.
In our opinion, we believe that students nor teachers would enjoy the additional time during the day over a period of time that would wear on us a bit.
Right.
Also, what you have to look at is you would be interfering with after school athletics, any type of after school programs, the recreation department, they're in full swing at that time. So we want to be sensitive to the family time and recreational time that families need to have in the afternoons.
Yes.
One other thing too is that the middle school is already release at 4:15, so 30 minutes would have middle schools releasing at 4:45 with 30 minutes, and then with an hour, 5:15 in the afternoon. And our non-exempt employees, those people who are paid by the hour, cannot work more than 40 hours a
Right.
week, thereby incurring overtime expenses.
I just want to be really transparent to the
Yes, ma'am.
community. Yeah, so I just want them to understand.
And explain to, just piggyback off what Ms. Baker was saying, explain why doing a Saturday, because that came up, it's not a
Yes, sir.
viable option.
Yes, sir. Again, we were approaching the idea of a Saturday. Once again, not instructionally sound. Again, we have to be sensitive to the physical state of our employees as well as our students. That would be the equivalent of going 6 days of school with 1 day off, and we will repeat that for 6 weeks. So that would be a lot of school for everyone. So we want to try to be sensitive again to the time that families need to have with their children.
And a point again is just to make sure that the public know that all options were looked at.
Yes, sir.
And the reason why those options were not a viable option to take, and that's why we ended up with the end of the school year, adding on those days.
Yes, sir. None of this has been easy. And again, we do know that having the 3 days at the end of the year, that's a concern for some. We understand that. But please know that we have exhausted every possible option over numerous hours trying to find out the best thing to do for our public.
And instructional wise, this is
Instructionally, this is the
great,
best
yeah,
option.
because
that we
this
have.
is the only way you can change your testing date.
Yes, ma'am.
And another one, Dr. Lockhart, is that it will present a transportation issue that's almost impossible to conquer.
Yes.
And one that will hit home in the stomach of most of us.
Right.
There are no lunch served on Saturdays.
And very, very good point. With Saturdays, lunch could not be served, and also with additional time at the end of the day, 30 minutes or an hour. Now you have this issue of we already served breakfast, we served lunch, and so again, it's getting pretty late in the day. So you do have the issue about food and nutrition.
Madam Chair, may I say? We're looking at a matrix that lists out each one of the items that we considered and then the reasons that we didn't go with that option, and we intend to make that a public document by sending it out to all of our employees and to the media so that everyone can see all of the things that we considered. We've got messages from Facebook, emails, text messages, and all kinds of feedback, and we looked at everything that was presented to us in an effort to make the best decision for kids and for teaching and learning. That's where we focused our efforts there.
Okay, one last question, maybe one. So since the last day of school would be the 29th,
Yes.
when would the teacher's last day be?
On the
June the
proposed
3rd.
calendar, it will be June
June the 2nd,
Right.
3rd.
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Yes,
Okay.
that's for
Right.
for secondary teachers, June 2nd for the elementary teachers.
26th.
Yes. So the second and the third would be their last
Second
day,
and third.
Right.
depending on where they teach.
Yes. What grade level? they
Right.
teach, no.
What grade level?
Teachers still have to make up the days as
Right.
part of their contractual
Contractual.
obligation, so therefore
Right.
we would push them back a bit.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Just an observation, in item number, about the 2014 and 15 calendar,
Yes.
after the 16th, so we won't allow any inclement weather, right?
I'm sorry, sir.
We have to tell Mother Nature.
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't.
Nothing can
I said after
happen.
the 16th of May in 2015, inclement weather is not allowed.
It's not allowed.
I've already ordered that.
We're back in the same boat, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lockhart. Do I have a motion for items E, F, and G?
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Okay, thank you, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. Item H is actually me. Okay, this is about our summer conference with the Georgia School Board Association. The summer training that we have, we need to select a delegate and an alternate delegate for the conference. And I guess maybe before we do nominations, do we have anybody that just would like to volunteer to be the delegate?
Madam Chair, if I may, I would just recommend that we allow the chair and the vice chair to take those.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Offer the motion that the chair and the vice chair be our delegates. Do I have a second?
I asked for volunteers before a motion.
I volunteered to make this nomination.
That sounds good to me.
I will do it. The only reason why I just kind of want to back out from it, because I actually was the delegate last year. So if there is somebody who has not been the delegate
I was a
in a
delegate the
while.
year before.
In
if
a
it weren't
while.
For that, but I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind doing it.
That's
I'll be
good.
there.
Okay, so then Abigail, are you saying that we're just gonna go ahead and be the
Sounds
delegate
good.
and the alternate delegate?
I would be the alternate if nobody wants to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing either one, filling either position.
Okay. So, Alma, you haven't done it in a while?
I'll do the alternate, yes. I'll do that.
And I'll do I'll be the delegate.
Okay,
Almond
thank
can
you,
be
because
the-
both of y'all saying alternate.
Okay. No, I'll be the delegate.
Okay.
He can be the alternate.
Okay, all right, we have it taken care of
Gosh, I just
then.
realized I'm not gonna be there.
Okay, so Abigail, you're gonna serve as our delegate. And then Almond, you'll serve as our
Yes.
alternate. Okay, thank you guys so much for your cooperation. Okay, item I, that's gonna be you again, Dr. Lockhart.
Item I, the superintendent requests that the board approve the personnel recommendations made during the executive session.
Okay,
So moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Any other
I
matters
have
that?
opposed, aye.
Okay, I'm sorry. We have one opposed, Ms. Allen. Okay, other matters of interest?
Ms. Fury, question, will we get a readout on the contract we got doing the study on our low math results?
Yes.
Would there be an interim on that, or are we gonna wait for a final?
We actually had a meeting scheduled with the company, the Insight Education Group, to review where we are in that process, and they actually give us week by week reports of the status. And so once we get once we meet with them, we'll have a midterm report that we'll be able to provide to you. So yes.
And when?
Well, we had a meeting scheduled twice now, I think, and it's been canceled. I'm not sure when it's, pardon me? Okay. Do you want to do it, when would you like it?
I just asked for the information, I don't have a particular date.
Okay. How about we do it at the next, at the work session? So we'll do it in March. By that time, we will have met with them to debrief again.
March is right around the corner.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, any other matters of interest? With that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.